Well, that's the thing. In the past, Portsmouth Christian Church was known as the owner of this cemetery, but today, the pastor of that church says they're really not in charge at all. In fact, the church says they actually pay a maintenance company to keep this cemetery up, but the company says because of all the water, there's not much they can do about all the flooding. Lincoln Memorial Cemetery sits on the side of Deep Creek Boulevard, and if you look in between the graves, you'll see the boulevard's name is quite fitting. So fitting, some geese have found a new spot to bathe.
It's shameful that it's went down as much as it has.
If any of this sounds familiar, you may remember News 3 was the first to tell you 2 years ago about the cemetery's maintenance problem. Today, the graveyard has dried up a little, but not much. So the question still stands. Who's responsible?
The cemetery in 2015 was gifted to one of our members here who no longer exists. He passed away. So we're not really sure who owns the property, but we do have documentation also that the property is to be maintained by Wimbrow and Sons. We actually pay them to maintain that property.
But Wimbrow and Sons say they're doing everything they can to keep the graveyard's appearance up. They cut the grass and now even dig ditches in the cemetery lot so the sitting water will have a place to go. But some say a resolution needs to happen quickly because souls buried here aren't resting peacefully.
You have a lot of real old tombstones there and a lot of real old military and people that's been gone for many years. And they at least deserve for it to be preserved and kept up.
Well, we're not really sure who owns the property. According to the deed, it's the person. So now we're having to get our own attorney to get involved to kind of clarify what the paperwork says so we can finally find out who actually owns that land.
Now, the church has hinted they would like the city to take over the cemetery, but the city says it has no plans to take over ownership. So there will likely be no restful peace here. Live in